bats out. Go on, Shelley. Go on.
Yes, go on.
Shelley Hocknell is an artist who is equally at home on the rock face, as she is in her studio located deep within the Welsh countryside.
One.
Combining a background in fine art with her in-depth knowledge of this sport, she commits to canvas what she sees and feels, using the climbing fraternity as a source of visual stimuli that has become her trademark.
Oh, yeah, good.
Come on, work it.
Go on.
Go on, Shelley. Yes, go on.
Go on.
Yes. Go for it. Yes,
yeah, nice, good.
Come on, finish it off.
Push down.
So,
excellent. Go on.
we can get in some climbing.
That's it, lovely.
Yes.
She has to work quickly to capture the whole rhythm of body in motion, sketching on the move, and latterly using photographs and video as a means to record this often explosive activity.
It's just getting your heel seated properly in that cut.
Viewing her portfolio, Shelley's artistic roots in classical form aren't difficult to spot. Originally featuring dancers and gymnasts, her work since 1998 has been influenced by her love of rock climbing, which similarly is epitomised by dynamic movement and muscular strength. Shelley describes her techniques as both aggressive and tranquil. It's a process that perhaps reflects the landscape that often surrounds her. Shelley is in the bouldering mecca of Fontainebleau, south of Paris. A trip she hopes will be both recreational as well as inspirational.
Because I worked with John and Mark last year, and I've gotten to know them quite well and the way they move, I've noticed a lot more differences this year. Mark is a very powerfully built Scottish winter mountaineer, and he climbs in a very different way to John. He's a lot taller, broader and heavier, so he'll move in a slightly different way to John, who's lighter and climbs in a much more balancy way. He does a lot of yoga, and that really shows in his climbing. He's very flexible, his centre of gravity is lower, so yeah, it's very valuable from an artistic point of view to witness the changes in their movements, and also to climb with them, because I climb in a very different way again, and I can learn from both of their styles. I've changed my approach slightly this year in that I've been doing a lot more sketching on site when my friends have been actually climbing rather than just relying on stills to take back to the studio. I felt more confident to just get out my sketchbook and use charcoal. So I almost kind of take a snapshot in my head of a particular movement as they move through it. So this could be like sort of a diagonal, and I'll draw a line between the foot and the hand as they stretch across, almost like a diagonal across the picture plane, and then kind of very, very quickly fill in the details, where their eyes are looking, where the other hands might be, whether they're crimping like this or flat-handed. These are the sort of things that interest me. There's the main points of contact and the tension, and then once I've just made some very, very quick, like a visual notes, almost like a shorthand, flip the page, draw again. Just keep watching and waiting while I go through the sequence until I find the bit that I want, which is, could be a very dynamic or very static move. You don't know till they actually do it whether it's going to be useful or not. And then once I go back to the studio with these visual notes, lines that perhaps would mean nothing to anybody else or speak volumes to me, because I'll remember then why I drew a line in that direction, or a hand doing this?
I've been climbing with Shelley for about a year now. We met last year in Fontainebleau. I like the way her pictures portray a lot of excitement in climbing, as opposed to the sort of staid pictures you get from film. The colours she can use adds a sort of vibrancy and energy that you can't get from film. I've been amazed at how well she's captured a particular sort of movement, or something like a finger jam, and the way the body is contorted into a certain position is so accurate. It's amazing. To me, it's a very, very accurate picture of a certain movement that this guy's doing. And I know a lot of Shelley stuff is meant to be like fine art, but it just captures the position, the body positioning and the movement really well. I think when you compare the painting with other forms of media, like photography or videos, I think it's a lot more expressive in painting, because it draws you into the picture, makes you think more about the movement and the emotion that's involved, as opposed to just a snapshot in time.
My first experience of Shelley's work was last year in Fontainebleau. We went out as a group of 5. Shelley took a number of pictures and camcorder film, which she was going to use for some paintings. Shelley's paintings, I thought, captured an extra dimension dimensions that photos don't. I think photos tend to be very two-dimensional. In the group, there's quite a bit of dynamics and feelings, like someone climbing and the others spotting. And I think in some of her paintings, she captured that very well. Not just the emotion of the climber, but the emotions of the spotters wanting their friend to do the problem. Also, I think when you're climbing at your limit, a problem that you can just manage and no more, you've got to dig quite deep, and sometimes get a bit lucky as well. And I think with her paintings, that came out quite nicely, which I don't think photos always capture.
Yeah, I have noticed a big improvement in my climbing this year. Again, I'm a lot more confident, and I've gotten used to the rock. The style is very different. The style of climbing here is very different to at home. The rocks are more rounded, and it's not always as obvious how to move on it. But after 2 weeks, as always, the change is very apparent. I feel a lot more confident, and having worked with John and Mark on problems, and learning a lot from them, and through drawing them as well and being quite analytical of their movement, I've developed in myself a much better style. The good thing about coming out to France to work is that it really rejuvenates my artwork generally, taking it out of the studio and working in the fields with real people and real rock in a different environment, in an environment that's very easygoing and comfortable. Really gives my work a lot more energy, and then I can take it back to the studio and develop it. It's very, very important for me to get away, to relax, to work. In fact, the border between art and life is very thin in this kind of context, because everything that I do has an impact on my artwork. And my artwork impacts on everything I do, because I'm constantly looking for paintings, for compositions, for colours, things that I'm interested in, which I can use to take home with me, so that I can actually develop my work based on my emotions rather than what will sell necessarily, which is very hard in when I'm at home, because that's my first priority, is to make a living from it. And so by getting away, I can forget about that for a little while and just concentrate on the inspiration.